This here is issue number 1 of the Power Rangers comic by Boom Studios, which is essentially Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 57 as the front cover showed. That's because much like issue number 1 of the new Mighty Morphin comic, this new series isn't a new series at all. It's just a continuation of the overall Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. So, at the end of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, the Omega Rangers set course for Earth because they wanted to speak with Zordon about the Empyreal. So here we are on a beach in Angel Grove, where the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are hanging out. Adam throws a frisbee at Rocky, who gets wiped out by a wave. That's when he sees the Omega Rangers. They're all happy to see each other, but when Tommy asks why Jason didn't tell them they were returning, Jason tells him it's because this isn't a vacation. So, at the command center, Jason shows Zordon and the others a hologram of the Empyreal. Unfortunately, Alpha says there's nothing in the command center's database correlating to the name Empyreal, and Zordon has no memory of the Empyreal either. Kimberly asks Zordon if the Empyreal is what Drakon was running from, and that's how the Omega Rangers learn that Drakon is being held right there in the command center under heavy security. As Drakon may have some answers, the Omega Rangers go to speak with him. At Drakon's cell, he confirms to the Omega Rangers that he was indeed running from the Empyreals, plural, so there really is more than one of them. All Drakon knows about the Empyreals is enough to make him want to try and get as far away as possible, and then Tommy enters to try and get Drakon to talk. I can understand why the Rangers are morphed near Drakon, but why were they morphed earlier in the command center in the first place? Seemed a bit unnecessary at that point in time, but anyway, Zack tells Zordon they need Drakon. However, Zordon will not allow it, despite Trini telling him that Drakon's knowledge might help the Omega Rangers track the Empyreals. Zordon stands firm and tells the Rangers Drakon is not leaving because he is the closest Zordon's been to losing the universe he has been protecting for over 10,000 years. The Omega Rangers turn up at the youth center and Ernie is happy to see them. Bulk and Skull, not so much. Jason spars with Rocky, and it's here Rocky casually lets out that the only thing cool they have in Angel Grove is the new Green Ranger. That stuns Jason, and Rocky ends up punching him in the face, almost unintentionally. Ernie asks Zack what it's like at the Teen Peace Conference. It's not a real thing, but Zack uses his Omega Ranger experience to answer him, as the two things are pretty similar. The Omega Rangers can't stay for more than a few days because they need to track down the Imperials, but they're limited by their technology and a lack of knowledge. Zordon didn't turn out to be much help. Tommy defends Zordon's decision, saying that Drakon should not be let out because if he does get out, everyone he hurts is on Trini and the Omega Rangers. Trini's thinking the bigger picture though and asks what about the people who get hurt because the Rangers aren't doing anything. Frustrated at the situation, Trini walks away. Now back to Jason and Rocky. I've always said the passing of the torch of the Ranger powers from Jason, Zack and Trini to Rocky, Adam and Aisha was done poorly on TV. Tommy becoming the leader in the TV show was also handled poorly. Here, that is kind of addressed. Rocky asks Jason if he's disappointed in him because Jason used to be in charge as the Red Ranger. Grace was also the Red Ranger in the past. Trini took charge when she temporarily had the Red Ranger powers. Rocky was never in charge. Jason tells him that he doesn't need a Ranger color to define who he is, and that he doesn't care if Rocky's a leader or not. He's fighting to protect friends and family, so that's enough for him. That was enough to lift Rocky's spirit. The Rangers part way at the end of the day, but the Omega Rangers are up to something once the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are out of the way. The Omega Rangers want to break Drakon out of the command center. At the end of the day, Alpha prepares to go into recharge mode, and he initiates the security protocol to ensure Drakon doesn't escape. It's cool seeing drones patrol the area beneath the command center. Anyway, this now becomes a bit of a Mission Impossible scene, as the Omega Rangers teleport in and now have to get past Alpha's tight security measures. It's fitting the Omega Rangers are doing this as they were once called Secret Space Ninjas. Ninjas of course move in stealth. This is not really your typical Power Ranger sort of thing, but the lack of dialogue and ninja spy movements look rather cool. The Omega Rangers eventually get to the main area where Trini can disengage the security beams, but lacks the passcode for the lock. Jason takes a more direct method and uses his sword to break the lock. Drakon thinks the Omega Rangers have come to their senses. Jason then takes his sword and breaks open the door to Dracon's cell. Jason tells Drakon that he's helping them find the Empyreals and that he's joining the Omega Rangers. Trini works on removing Dracon's collar, but it'll take 30 seconds. However, within those 30 seconds, Alpha shows up and tells the Omega Rangers that he doesn't want to hurt them, and asks them to return Drakon to his cell. The Rangers refuse on the basis that Drakon is the only one who has enough knowledge on the Empyreals to potentially save millions of lives. They're taking Drakon. As Alpha orders his drones to act, Drakon takes matter into his own hands and knocks Alpha into a wall. Jason grabs Drakon and tells him not to touch Alpha. Drakon tells Jason that he can either help Alpha or they can escape and try to save the universe. After detecting the Ranger's teleportation signature, Zordon enters the lowest section of the command center and sees Alpha. He's barely able to respond because his neural net has been scrambled, but there shouldn't be any permanent damage. That's what Trini told Jason. And Jason tells Zordon that they'll return Drakon after the Imperials have been dealt with. Zordon is angry and warns Jason that if he takes Drakon, he will not hesitate to unleash everything at his disposal to stop the Omega Rangers. Jason tells him he's sorry but teleports away. Aboard Spectrum 2, the Omega Rangers depart Earth with Drakon. It was entertaining to see the Omega Rangers break Drakon out, and I can see why they need to work with him. Drakon has obviously seen enough to scare the living daylights out of him, so he could be the key to saving the universe. I'm surprised by Zordon's stance on the situation. He's acting out of character. But given the backstory of Zordon in Mighty Morphin issue number 1 and Candace's true identity at the end of the same issue, I wonder if that past is influencing Zordon's decision here.